Richard, it's a huge fight. Mikey considered the pound-for-pound king, one of them. Robert Easter's hungry, he's a champion. What can we expect Staples Center July 28th?
Well, first I need to correct you. In my opinion, Mikey is the pound-for-pound best, and he has proven that over many years, over many fights, undefeated, multi-division, world champion, multiple-time world champion, and always seems to be sort of like looking for the toughest challenges, and the same is true here again in this fight here on July the 28th. With Robert Easter, he's certainly fighting a very difficult style. Easter is substantially taller than him. He's undefeated. He's a fighter who has been waiting for this kind of opportunity, and here it is. You're going to see the best Robert Easter we have ever seen. And so for Mikey to go and take that challenge just tells you why, in my opinion, he is pound for pound the best fighter, because that's exactly what great champions do. They look for great challenges. And this is the greatest challenge Mikey Garcia has faced so far in his career.
At this point in their careers, how important is it for you and for the fighters to get this job done, or get this fight done right now?
Well, I think it was important, you know, but when you have great champions, they want to be challenged and they want to fight each other, and that's what you have with Robert Easter as well. He's been waiting for that, and for Mikey, no challenge is too tall, and when I say too tall, I mean literally too tall.
Richard, Mikey takes care of business. What do you think he does next?
Look, all the doors are open for him. I mean, he is telling me that he wants to go and fight Spence. And again, I mean, this is like, and he's not the kind of guy, some other guy might just say it for kidding around or joking around or getting some headlines, but that's not Mikey Garcia. What Mikey Garcia tells you, he means, and that's what he wants. But I think it's a bit dangerous, you know, to look ahead, because I can assure you Robert Easter is not coming to Los Angeles to give up the title. He's coming to Los Angeles to pick up another title and walk away with both belts. So I really don't want to talk about what's next, but frankly, when you talk what's next, you can look at Robert Easter as well. If Robert Easter would win, I mean, the world is at his feet. So both guys are going to be in tip-top shape. It's going to be a great fight, and let's worry what's next the day after.
You mentioned Spence's name. Why would you place Mikey Garcia above Spence in the pound-for-pound list?
Well, you know, in my opinion, the pound-for-pound list is not just like what you've done today or yesterday. It is an accumulation of what you have done through over a longer period of time. And Mikey, with 40 fights now, has really proven himself over a long period of time to remain undefeated, to become a multi-division world champion, not just a one-division world champion. I certainly want to take anything away from Spence. I think he's a terrific fighter. He is, I think, the best fighter today at the 147-pound weight class. But you look at Mikey, in my opinion, Mikey is the best at 130, 135, 140, and if he decides to go into 147, he's probably going to be the best in that division as well. That's just Mikey Garcia. And so that's what I think makes the pound-for-pound best fighter. You look at Lomachenko, who I think is a terrific fighter, but you know, I mean, how many fights did he have? So I think Mikey's accomplishment and his continued success, fight after fight, year after year, speaks, in my opinion, to the reason why he should be pound-for-pound #1.
Richard, you mentioned obviously Spence. I guess maybe it seems like that's maybe the direction Garcia might be going actually after this fight, if he were to win. I mean, this is a big guy, but you did mention Lomachenko too. You know what I mean? A lot of people consider him top 3, at least pound for pound. He's in everyone's top 3. I mean, is that a fight that is Mikey maybe bypassing Lomachenko to go to Spence? I mean, I don't hear him talking about Lomachenko as much as I hear him talking about Spence.
No, I think, you know, Lomachenko now with his injury, he's going to have to come back. But I think the Lomachenko fight is certainly a fight which Mikey stated publicly he's interested in as well. I think either one of those fights, the fact is there are huge fights out there for Mikey, and that's why I predicted a while ago that these records which were established by my good friend, the pound-for-pound pay-per-view king, Floyd Money Mayweather, that these records, which people say now they won't be broken, they will be broken. And I think it's going to be a Mikey Garcia who is going to break them, because the fact is one guy alone can't do it, but he has a lot, he's in weight classes where there's a lot of a lot of big fights right there for him. So I do believe that within the next fight or two, that Mikey Garcia is going to break into the pay-per-view market, and I predict that Mikey Garcia will be the one who will be carrying the sport and will be carrying the pay-per-view platforms as well.
Now, Richard, can you talk about the decision making? And after Mikey's last fight, he went and captured the IBF title at 140 after defeating Lipinets. Can you talk about the decision making about coming back down to 135? Because originally he had talked about staying at 140 and vacating his WBC title at 135, and then went ahead and came back down. What was the decision making in that?
Well, Mikey is fortunate that he can really move up and down in these weight classes, and he can dominate in these weight classes, and he's very opportunistic. So he's basically going to go into the weight class where he feels he can get the biggest exposure, and where he can add to his already tremendous legacy, and being able to become a unified 135-pound world champion is certainly something which excited him more than looking for potential opportunities at 140.
Richard, we've seen Mikey fight his last couple of fights here. We've seen him fight all over the world. Is it safe to say that this will now be his home base since he's been fighting here more often? And is this the place to cultivate him into a pay-per-view star?
Well, I read somewhere that it actually has been quite a while since Mikey fought last in Los Angeles. I don't know if I remember correctly, like 2007 or something like that. So it has been a while, but Los Angeles always had somebody who carried the sport of boxing, and the Angelino fight fans are very passionate, very knowledgeable about the sport, and you can look back 50 years or so, there was always one, sometimes two guys who carried the sport in Los Angeles. Right now, we have a void here in Los Angeles, and usually that person who carried the sport in Los Angeles really became nationally and then internationally, globally, a superstar as well. And I have no doubt that Los Angeles is ready for Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is ready for Los Angeles. That's the first, what I predict, of many fights. He will be headlining at Staples Center. I think he's going to be right along there with LeBron James coming now to the Staples Center, and we are going to see Mikey Garcia now become a regular at the Staples Center as well. If it would be up to me, I like to see him fight at least once a year at Staples Center and really make that his base and his home.
I like that you're trying to make kind of LA another destination for fighting, really make it another, like, it is a fight town, but a place for big fights. Like, this is a big fight for the lightweight championship of the world. What can you tell us about, like, the undercard? Are we going to have, like, I know the last undercard was good, was,
yes,
you know, the war, the last main event as well. What can you tell us about the rest of this card?
Well, you know, those who know me, they know that I always like to put together stacked cards and entertain the fight fans, and I think this is going to be no exception here. We are currently finalizing that. It looks like one of the most exciting heavyweights, I think, is going to be on the card as well, Luis King Kong Ortiz. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. Mario Barrios as well from San Antonio. So you're going to see a little bit of everything, different weight classes featured. So it's going to be an exciting night again. Tickets are as hot as the weather is here in Los Angeles. They're flying off the shelves. We had actually opened up some more sections, so I expect really a huge crowd at Staples Center. And as hot as it is in this gym here today, I can assure you on July the 28th at Staples Center, it's going to be even hotter.
You mentioned the heavyweight division. Can I ask you just a question what many American fight fans are thinking? How would you trust Eddie Hearn in negotiating the fight if you had to negotiate a fight with
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. No, but look, I think I am of the opinion that if a fight is so big that you cannot leave any stones unturned, and you need to do whatever you can to make those fights happen, because ultimately as a promoter you have a responsibility to your fighter to generate as much money as you can. And when you have a fight which is in magnitude so much bigger than any other fight, Wilder and Joshua, then you've got to make it. You can't wait. And you know, the fact is, one guy is going to lose and one guy is going to win, right? So what does that tell you? There's going to be a rematch. So there are going to be at least 2 fights. There potentially might be 3. When you have that and the stars are aligned, and get it done. get it done. Not getting it done is really not. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for the fighters, and it's just sort of like, you know, it's a shame. And who knows if it's going to happen? I personally think eventually it will, but you know, who knows if it's boxing. One guy might lose, and then what happens?
Speaking of a situation like that, the fight finally got made. Canelo Triple G2 finally got made for September. Doesn't seem like Canelo wants to do a lot of media stuff. They're not doing a joint press conference other than, you know, before the fight itself, fight week and all that, but not anything. Do you take anything from that? Is there a reason why you feel like Canelo isn't around the media?
I don't believe in that, and I think I personally, first of all, as a fan, I'm happy the fight got made. It's a fight I'm going to buy on pay-per-view. I think it's a great fight. It's a great matchup. But it's like, why do you think Ford or Coca-Cola, which are the biggest brands, and let's say Canelo is the biggest brand in boxing, let's just say that for a minute, certainly in pay-per-view. I mean, does Coca-Cola still spend money advertising? Does Ford still spend money advertising? Are they still out there? Yes. You know, I mean, just thinking I'm the biggest and I'm the best and I don't need to do media and I don't need to do press conference and I don't need to do this, that's not very smart. That's not how you promote. You need to go and touch the fans, and you need to be out there, and you need to go and work outside of the ring as well. It's sort of like, if you are truly the pound-for-pound star, and you are not the pay-per-view star, then you need there's obligations and there is work aligned with that. And the one who really did the best job and ultimately he made the most money again was Floyd Mayweather. I mean, you see the media days he did in his gym, and they started at like what, at 2 o'clock, and they ended at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and he did full workouts and interviews, and he was relentless in doing interviews. Now, did he maybe rather not do that, or maybe a bit less? Probably, but you know what? He recognized the responsibility as the pay-per-view star, the work you need to do with the media, and the results then followed. And instead of being happy making 5 million or 10 million or 15 million, the more work he put in, he started to make 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million. But you know what? It paid off for him. And I think that's important.
Thank you, Richard.
No problem. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.